What are we going to see here, and what do you want to see from Anthony Joshua in that ring tomorrow night?
I want to see Anthony Joshua perform as though he's fighting Deontay Wilder. That's the big carrot. That's the big fight that everybody wants to see. So I think it's actually not the worst opponent for him to be in there with, somebody who's 6'6", a big, massive man who has a similar strategic style in terms of the hand positioning and movement. Helenius, I've sparred with him in the past, and he's got a good jab, long range, and I think that what we see from Anthony Joshua will be an indicator of how he could perform against Deontay Wilder.
David, do you feel that we need to see a little bit of the Anthony Joshua of old? Whereas, like, you know, speaking to him in the build-up to this one, that's what I think he's planning on implementing into his style going into this fight, where we need to see a little bit more rawness, the rawness that took him to the world heavyweight title, as opposed to the thinking fighter that we've seen in recent times. Do you think that that's what's missing from Joshua right now?
His last fight, it appeared as though he was literally just working on range, working on just winning the rounds comfortably, not putting himself in any type of harm's way. Although he could, I believe, could have got the stoppage if he would have put himself really into the fight. But by being in the fight, you're susceptible
it was a little bit safety first, wasn't it?
It was a safety first, and there's nothing wrong with that.
He went phase one, but not phase two.
But that safety first approach, I don't believe works against Deontay Wilder. So it's like, why waste your time doing it? Yeah. But new coach, new setup, coming off those two back-to-back losses. He just wants to get back in a winning run, understand that. He's got that out of the way. Now let's see.
So you're saying you can't outbox Deontay Wilder?
I wouldn't advise trying to box Deontay Wilder at long range.
No, AJ
can't, very good jab.
AJ can't outbox Deontay Wilder.
He might get caught at some point in those 12 rounds.
He will get caught at some point. That's the point, because AJ's not a boxer.
So
We've got to understand
you're both saying it's a shootout, that fight, then?
This educated pressure that he's got to be there. Like, definitely don't try and outbox Deontay Wilder.
It's a fight we all
that is a recipe for
highly
disaster.
anticipating. It's thrilling to think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I favour Deontay Wilder in the fight, I've got to be honest. I think he's very dangerous for anyone.
Yeah.
But I've thought that what Joshua's working on at the moment is a strategy to outbox opponents.
No,
it was to outbox Dillian White and to stop him after 5 or 6. And I think we'll see a similar thing against Helenius in this fight.
We saw Tyson Fury in the first fight tried to outbox Wilder.
And look what happened.
And it was a draw. It was a tough fight. You know, he got hurt badly. But when he applied the pressure,
on the back foot. You can't
when he
let
went
him on
out there, and with educated pressure, not like a
You've got to put him on the
lunatic.
back foot.
You've got to force Wilder to exchange and catch him as he's throwing. It's difficult to do that at long range when you're behind the jab.
You can't let him get any sort of momentum, Wilder, because if he does, he's very explosive in his attacks, and Joshua will be made to pay the price because he's not elusive. He comes in straight lines, goes out in straight lines.
Well, of course, what we do know is Wilder's for another day, because, David, we are here to see the weigh-in for AJ Robert Helenius. David, do you worry for your sport? We should be watching the weigh-in of AJ Dillian White, and we're not, and we know why we're not. And he's nowhere to be seen. Might not see him again. Do you worry for your sport?
Yeah, it's unsettling when you've got these, and it always seems to happen with the biggest fight that you might really anticipated and really want to see. You know, obviously the jury's still out, although there's been a flag test for what we don't know. Was it something that was okay in training? There's certain chemicals you can have in training, no problem, but if they're in your system post-fight, then you get banned. It's so complicated, and what one jurisdiction says is okay, another says isn't. It would be nice to have one unified body that everybody's on the same page, but because having different drug administrators in different territories, it makes it so complicated. I don't even know what's happening.
It should all be underwater, as simple as that.
Gareth, I was going to put it straight to David, and I know you won't duck this. We hear there could be as many as 60% of fighters on performance-enhancing drugs. We're not saying for a moment that White falls into that category, so take him out the
Where did that
equation.
stat come from?
It's a 60% insiders within your industry are saying could be as many as 60%.
I highly disagree with that. It depends what country you're in.
Probably more.
If you're in the UK, if you're a fighter, okay, here's the difference.
Is that a serious comment, Gareth?
Probably more.
No,
other people have accused it of being more, being 70 or 90, Dr. Usman was saying.
It depends what country you're from. If you're from the UK, you're with UCAD, and they know where you are. They turn up at your house, they turn up at your gym, and you do a test. So at any stage they can come.
But David, here's the statistics that kind of dispel that argument. 57 out of competition tests were done over 3 years. 2 years, sorry. So they don't. So when people are making this accusation, I know you want to defend your sport and nobody wants to persecute the sport, but when you're seeing it manifest itself and we're not seeing satisfactory outcomes, we're seeing people seeming to get out from underneath on jurisdiction rather than strict liability, and we're seeing fighters having repeat instances, and we're seeing world title holders like Tyson Fury that alleged, once upon a time got out from underneath, during his absence from fighting, got a 2-year ban retrospectively.
Saul Canelo Alvarez, one of the biggest names in the sport.
Why, just out of curiosity, is there such a robust, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but why is such a robust pushback from you? No, absolutely no way. This sport isn't like that.
The fighters that I know, I don't know any fighters who have taken that, but you don't know what some of my instincts are. The fighters I've been around, for instance, Derek Chisora, he's super. We make sure, when I was working with him, we make sure everything he has is informed sport, that every supplement he takes, he doesn't take a drink from anybody, anywhere. For instance, he'll be here now, he's not going to get a bottle of water off someone. No, we bring everything around you to minimise anything. I always just assume everyone else is the same.
I think it's because we're ex-fighters and you haven't done that. You just assume that everyone else, no one else is doing that, and it's like you don't want to believe that the sport you're in.
But you worry for it, don't you, Spence? You worry.
Massively, because I've been out of the game for a long time now, and I know what's going on. And you look at the changing of the times, etc., and you go, because some people are doing it and some people are not. The people that are not doing it think, well, he's doing it, so I might have to do it, and that's where the problem lies. And I think that, because we love the sport that we love, you just don't want to believe that it's going on. But I just think that it's getting worse as times are moving on.
And that's two guys who observe the sport, as does Simon, extremely closely, David. And David, the bottom line is this: you're very proud of your sport, mate. You gave it everything when you were in it. You're still in it, and it's given you a lot. So you can't have one without the other. You need boxing, but you need clean boxing.
100%. We can't. That's what, if someone gets banged to rights, because there's one thing of failing a test and then it transpires 9 months later, in actual fact you're okay. I'm like, hold up, so how about that 9 months? Who's responsible for that? Surely there has to be, if it's this specific chemical that's in your system, this close to a fight, whatever it is, or this trait, there should be a list of what you can and can't have. So why is there a need for legals? And I don't understand.
So you can't agree with the process that Conor Benn's been going through?
But I don't know what that is. It's all private. I don't know what the process is.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.